Hallo alle sammen. Velkommen til webinar på Veeam Availability Console. Veeam Availability Console er et spennende produkt for hostere, og vi er heldige å ha med Joachim Nilsen, som er hosting manager fra Veeam, og Irina Letzner, som er teknisk ansvarlig fra Veeam sin side. Mitt navn er Eivind Bakke, jeg jobber med Veeam i Comax, og programmet i dag er at vi først skal ta dere litt gjennom verdien av produktet. Det er Joachim som kommer til å gjøre det. Irina gir oss en gjennomgang på, og en demo på produktet og kan svare på tekniske spørsmål underveis. Denne delen holdes på engelsk. Og så oppsummerer jeg litt grann på slutten. Litt praktisk rundt hvordan vi gjør gjennomføringen. Vi tar opp sesjonen i dag, sånn at den blir tilgjengelig for dere i etterkant. Alle er satt på mute, så hvis dere har spørsmål underveis, så still dette i chatten, så tar vi dette fortløpende. Still gjerne på engelsk, for da slipper jeg å oversette til Irina. Og så kommer vi til å sende dere en e-post i etterkant med det vi blir enige om er spørsmål som må dekkes, eller eventuelle lenker som dere trenger og lignende, sånn at dere får både opptaket og en oppfølging, en oppsummering i etterkant. Og med det så tar vi og begynner. Kommer det sikkert på enda flere etter hvert, men vi sa fra 9, så da får vi ta og forholde oss til det. Joachim, ordet er ditt.
Okay, I'm going to do this in English as well, so Irina knows what I've been talking about. So, okay. First of all, the Veeam Availability Console is a tool for that simplifies management of all your tenants. One of the first of all, we have the simplified setup. That makes it possible for you to onboard tenants, etc. with an onboarding wizard, which makes it a lot easier than going through each customer every time you need to do this. You also have the possibility to do deployment management of agents remote, and this is a great tool for especially if you have like 100 workstations and you need to roll out new licenses. You can also manage backup and replication, but you will not be able to deploy from a central management tool. There's a box that you can tick in VBR console, and that makes a service provider possible to take over and administrate your VBR. You will have remote monitoring and management for backups and replicas. That means if you're running backup as a service and disaster recovery as a service. And you will also have, the customer will also have a possibility to look at his own environment that you are protecting for him. We also have an automated billing service and a billing service where each of the tenants can see how you can send out invoices directly from the tool. So, which is also a great feature. And again, you have the multi-tenant customer portal then where you can have an overview of all your tenants, all of their agents, VMs. Yes, and the customer will also be able to see his own environment, as I told you earlier, so he could see if there is some trouble with anything like that. And you have other features is alarms that could be both for you and the tenants, which could be a VMs or agent which is not being taken back of, or we have some trouble with that. We also have a RESTful API, which makes it possible, for example, if you have trouble with or the billing service. If you have your own service on billing, you will have the possibility to connect it to RESTful APIs. and then make this system do this for you. You also have support for failover plans. If you're running a service as disaster recovery as a service, you will be able to the customer will be able to fail or initiate his failover. So this is a really important tool if something should happen at the customer site. And you will also be able to do reporting and get some reports out from the tool as well. I would say this tool will make it a lot easier for you guys to manage your customers, your tenants, especially if you have a lot of them.
Okay. Are there many partners using this today?
Yeah, there are some partners using this. At least I think most of the bigger ones, and some others which is testing this out. And but it's also a lot of partners that doesn't use it, and it's a great tool which we are going to base a lot of the future products that we are going to release as well.
Yeah, and it's a free tool for service
providers. Yes, it's a free tool, so it's no reason not to use it.
Oh.
Right.
Yes.
So that's all for me. So then let's Irina take the rest. She will show you a demo, and you will be able to ask her questions if you have some technical.
Yeah,
questions.
Sure.
Yes. Then I gave you the. Sorry.
No, go ahead.
Then it's up to you, Irina. I gave you the presenters, right? So.
Yeah, thanks a lot. This is Irina speaking. Hello, everyone. First of all, thank you for joining this webinar today. I guess that I have already shared my PowerPoint presentation, the screen. Can you please, guys, confirm that you can hear me well and see the screen well?
We can both see the screen and we can hear you well.
Okay, that's great. So for all the attendees who joined our webinar today, let me introduce myself. My name is Irina. I work with service providers across EMEA, and specifically work together with Joachim in covering Norway and Nordics region. Today, well, we had some introduction by Joachim and Eivind. Thank you. Also, I wanted to mention that please type your questions in the chat box. There is a question box on this webinar interface. Could you please type your question there, so I will, or we all will come back and check back on the question, so we will answer this aloud. If possible, well, if you want me to understand the question, you can write it in English. If you're happy with typing in Norwegian, is also fine for me. So we will somehow figure it out. All right. So I'm starting off with Veeam Availability Console.
Mm-hmm.
And some of the basic overview. So what my plan is for today is we are going to discuss some of the functionalities, see how Veeam Availability Console functions, which we have, which functionality do we have, and I will also jump back and forth from the PowerPoint presentation to the live demo. So we'll see this live, how to configure this and that, and how the Veeam Availability Console looks like. So it will not be 100% slides. All right, let's take off with this. Well, first thing to mention is Veeam Availability Console. Indeed, is the monitoring tool and management tool for providing Veeam services, Veeam powered services to the end user and to the external customers. Basically, what it says that service providers and enterprises are in a way similar because they need to serve their own companies in case of enterprise, and service provider for external. So they share a lot of similar workloads. And Veeam Availability Console is available for service providers, as Joachim mentioned, for free. So there is no cost for the product. And for the enterprises, we do have Veeam Availability Console for enterprise, but it's not that easy just to go and get Veeam Availability Console, because for enterprises, this is a paid edition firstly, and then there should be some certain requirements before actually enterprise is eligible to get this Vim Availability Console. So it's not for each and every end user that we just give away the Vim Availability Console. But for service providers, and we are going to concentrate on service providers, of course, for service providers, yeah, the tool is free and you can just install it and start working. More or less, here you can see the different blocks. So it allows you to manage external company and manage and install and deploy and manage licenses and monitor backup and replication activities on the Vim backup and replication servers for virtual infrastructure, as well as create different subscription plans and automate the billing and the report on consumption of the resources. So let's have a closer look at what Vim Availability Console actually consists of. And if some of you know, we have a product which is called Vim Cloud Connect, the one that allows the service provider to receive the backups or replicas from external customers and Vim backup and replication installations. So this Cloud Connect works through the public internet over the SSL TLS tunnel, the protected tunnel. And basically, this is what Vim Availability Console relies on. We use more or less the same underlying technology that Cloud Connect does, because we already know how to. We already basically have this in place for quite a time. So we already have this for quite a time. And since we already know how to build the protected tunnel, how to onboard tenants, we of course decided to use the same technology for Vim Availability Console. Basically, this works over public internet, so it means that we do not require any direct connection or VPN connection to the customer to be able to deploy agents for Windows in server or workstation, to be able to manage Vim backup and replication and get statistics from Vim backup and replication, also receive backups or replicas. So this all works over the public internet. In short, these are, you can see also on this slide how the functionality is split. So basically, Vim Availability Console is able to work with Vim Backup. Let's say we have a customer A, which you see on the left side, and he has everything that Vim Availability Console is able to manage right now, which is Vim Backup and Replication and Agent for Windows in Server or Workstation Edition. It can be just a management or remote management and providing managed services based on Vim, and just management and monitoring of Vim backup and replication. And this also can be just a small remote customer with no virtualization, but just physical laptops or physical servers. All right, let's go on here. And well, these are some different scenarios, not only about management, but again, as you can see, these are some different use cases. If you're a service provider who already has our Cloud Connect and you provide Vim-powered services by receiving backups or receiving replications from your external customers, providing so-called disaster recovery as a service on your platform, that would be very easy for you to start off with Vim Availability Console, because this is the only thing that you need to install. Vim Availability Console is just it's a web-based user interface. It has 2 ways to enter, which is service provider and also the end user. Obviously, the service provider has administrator by default, because he administers and has access to all the customers. And also the end user, of course, when he logs in, he will only see his own resources, his own protected virtual machines, his own protected agents, and also there is a possibility for the end user also to manage something from Vim Availability Console. Again, if this is the scenario with service providers. For those service providers who do not have Cloud Connect, who do not provide Vim Cloud Connect services, who do not have disaster recovery as a service, and do not provide backup, in this case, Vim Availability Console installation would be a little bit more complicated, if I can say so, because there is no such thing as complicated. With Vim, everything is super easy to set up. So for the service providers who do not have any Cloud Connect or any Vim backup or application infrastructure, Vim Availability Console will consist of couple of more components. First of all, it will be Vim Availability Console itself, this web UI, so it still stays, it doesn't go anywhere. The second component is called Cloud Gateway, and actually Cloud Gateway is a Windows service. In reality, it's just a Windows service, and this service is responsible for receiving external connections from your external companies. So this is the only component that is available outside. It is protected with SSL certificate. This is only one single port that is available to the end users to connect, and through this single port, all the communication is carried out. So we already have Vim Availability Console, we have Cloud Gateway, and in any case, if you are going to provide some Cloud Connect services or you are not going to provide some Cloud Connect services, we will still require Vim Cloud Connect server to operate Vim Availability Console. So in case of service providers without Cloud Connect, you will need to install Vim Cloud Connect server, Vim Cloud Gateway, and Vim Availability Console with just a web UI. In case you already have Cloud Connect, you can just install Vim Availability Console, connect it to Cloud Connect server, and continue working. All right, so this is you saw before, this slide is, you can see that this is a pure management. So these are different scenarios talking about different use cases, and this one is about just pure management. You can see that we do not have any Cloud Connect, we don't provide any additional services like disaster recovery. This is a pure management, and we have Vim Backup and Replication, which is installed on the side of the customers. Otherwise, it can be agent for Windows Box. Talking about a little bit different scenario. So you can see this is more or less the same. So we have Vim Availability Console, Cloud Gateway, but since we have Cloud Connect in place anyway, there is also a scenario when you also provide an external repository, not only the managed service to protect the customer's workload on premises, but you also provide them with the let's say 3-to-1 rule, which stands for 3 copies and 2 different medias and 1 offsite. So this will be related to one that is offsite. So this is a repository on demand to copy the backup files offsite and store them at the service provider. So this is the scenario when Vim Availability Console not only manages and not only provides managed services based on Vim Backup and Replication or Vim agents, but is also acting as the external repository by providing Cloud Connect repository to the users. I would like to stop at this point a little bit deeper, and just to make sure that we covered this point, I would like to stop a little bit on the licensing, because the thing is that Vim Availability Console centrally manages the licenses, and also this is the this is the software which distributes the licenses and assigns the correct licenses. For example, to Vim Agent for Windows, whether it's Workstation, then this will be the license for the Workstation. If it's a Vim Agent for server, then we will assign this a Vim Agent for server. This will depend on our policy. What I'm trying to say is that recently, well, not so long ago, we Veeam decided to take off the limitation and to allow service providers to run Veeam backup and replication at the customer with the rental licenses, and the same is for Veeam Agent for Windows Server and Workstation. So that means that on the customer side, it doesn't matter which type of Veeam backup and replication you have, like which type of license, whether this license belongs to the end user and this is perpetual, whether this license belongs to you as a service provider and this is rental. So this is what Veeam Availability Console can manage in terms of Veeam backup and replication. So Veeam Availability Console can manage Veeam backup and replication. Doesn't matter what license it has. If it's your own license and you deliver it as a service, or it's a customer license and you just manage this for your customers. A little bit different situation is with Veeam Agents for Windows, because Veeam Agents for Windows, whether it's Workstation or Server Edition, they should be rental. And actually, agents do not have their own license, and it's only Veeam Availability Console that gives the license to agents. So by itself, the agent will not operate because it takes the license from Veeam Availability Console. And this license can be only of a rental type, because this is the component that is responsible to push the license to the agent. And let's say this is very convenient because you just subscribe the customer to your services, and then when, I don't know, the contract expires, something happened, you don't want to work with this customer anymore, you just take the licenses back and he doesn't receive any service anymore, and the licenses will not stay on the side of the customer forever. Right, so we discussed Veeam backup and replication management with Veeam Availability Console, perpetual or rental licenses belonging to the end user or belonging to the service provider. We discussed Veeam Agent for Windows and Server Workstation Edition, and they can be managed by Veeam Availability Console only if they are in rental licenses. And also, we have a use case number 3, which is customer C. You can see here the Veeam Agent for Linux, a small one. But you can see that also this picture is a little bit different from what we have here. Indeed, there is a difference. And the difference is the following. Veeam Availability Console is able to manage Veeam backup and replication directly, is able to manage Veeam Agent for Windows directly, but it is not able to manage or deploy Veeam Agent for Linux as of now, because right now the version of a Veeam Availability Console is version 2, and Veeam Agent for Linux management will be added in the year 2019. So it is on the roadmap. We're already working this functionality. This will be delivered. But for now, Veeam Agent for Linux can be managed only through the Veeam Backup and Replication Server. What that means? That means that Veeam Availability Console will be connecting to the Veeam Backup and Replication Server and at the customer. But this Veeam Backup and Replication Server will not be doing anything. It will not, for example, back up virtual infrastructure. The only thing that why we need Veeam backup and replication here is to manage Veeam Agent for Linux, because in this way, Veeam backup and replication can do this if Veeam Agent for Linux is local. So in this case, we will not see Veeam Agent for Linux directly, but we will see Veeam Backup and Replication Server of the customer, and we will see Veeam Agent for Linux as a part of this customer's installation. These agents for Linux will be reflected in Veeam Availability Console as monitored agents instead of managed, like with Windows. All right, just another slide. The difference here is again, you can provide either Cloud Connect host, either Cloud Connect repository, or just managed service. This is up to you how you want to build this. You have Veeam Availability Console. It means that you have almost all the components that you need to be able to deliver not only managed services, but also to provide Cloud Repository on demand or Cloud Connect host, which is basically a replication as a server. as a service, disaster recovery as a service. So just to emphasize couple of things with this portal, it has built-in reporting. The reporting can be scheduled, it can be automated. You can see how many. You can send it out automatically to the end user. Otherwise, you can just keep it for yourself and understand how much of what your tenants consume. We do have built-in billing, and I will show this in a second. Multi-tenancy is already in there. We inherited this from Vim Cloud Connect technology. And as I mentioned, Vim Availability Console has two entry points. One is for service providers, team of administrators, and the help desk. And the other way is to give access to the end user, and you also can select which roles this end user has. If the end user just wants to log in to see his unpaid invoices, that would be invoice auditor. If there is administrator or a help desk team on the side of the end user, you can give them the rights so that they do some management tasks or in the Availability Console directly, protect new machines, roll out new policies, and things like this. So this also can be different roles inside the end user. And of course, there is integration over REST API. So you can just build it in, automate the creation of the tenant, assignment of resources, and create your own self-service portal as you wish. Okay, let's have a look at the Vim Availability Console itself. I guess that we will start with, I will just start with the live demo, and let's see how we need to start off, and then we will switch to the agent management and take a look at the agent management in details.
Irina?
Yes.
Before you start with the demo, there's a question from Ronnie. Can the Cloud Connect repository be a local repository for the service provider?
It's not that it can be a local repository with Cloud Connect technology. Well, mostly it should be a local repository. A local repository to the service provider, because Cloud Connect and Vim Availability Console, they are located, well, I would say at service provider. You can of course deploy them also in a public cloud like Azure, like Amazon, but it's quite logical that the repository is at least closer to the gateway, to the Cloud Connect installation, right? Because you receive the data and you want to store the data immediately. You don't want to receive the data and then send it over to another location. So yeah, it's logical that this is basically the infrastructure that is operated by the service provider. You have a repository local, you have a Cloud Connect server, you have Vim Availability Console, you have maybe a disaster recovery host to receive replicas. This is all your environment, and you just give it away through the multi-tenant system to your external users, and then you charge them on the consumption.
Yeah, thank you.
Yep, I hope I answered this question.
You did.
Okay, so let's start with this Vim Availability Console. As you can see, this is my Chrome. This is the overview that I have. So I already have, these are my companies that I serve. I'm not very profitable, as you can see. Anyhow, I have 28 protected VMs, 3 physical computers, 0 replicas, and I have some backups that are stored in my Cloud Connect repository. These are cloud backups. So let's first of all take a look at the configuration, and everything is quite clear now. You have the steps, what you need to accomplish to make it work. So first of all, when you deploy Vim Availability Console, it will ask you to add your Cloud Connect server. So as I said, Cloud Connect server is something that is base of this Vim Availability Console, something that allows us direct internet, direct connection over internet to our external users. So you will need to install if it's not yet installed, you will need to install Cloud Connect server and add it to Vim Availability Console. Secondly, you can create your company profile, so this can be branded. You can brand your portal, you can upload your own logo and create a subscription plan. Subscription plan probably is one of the most interesting parts. So let's take a look at this. So first of all, the company info is, this is my own company info, and this information will be populated. For example, if you decide to send automatic invoice to the customers. You also can select the portal branding, the URL of the web address, portal logo, report logo, website icon. So everything, these little things that make the service look nice. All right, so then I need a subscription plan. So basically, subscription plan is the price list. You can have many price lists. You can have some, I don't know, basic silver, gold, and platinum maybe, and just deliver these templated, let's say so, services. Otherwise, you can create a different plan per for the specific company based on the demands on this company. So let's have a look at this one. This is called default subscription plan. You can either create a new. I will go through existing one. Otherwise, maybe I can take the default subscription plan and just copy this. Just because maybe I want two different companies to use it, and one of the companies is quite dynamic, so it has a lot of changes. So when I change the subscription plan for one company, it does not affect the other one, even though they are using similar, so that the changes stay within the company. So the name, the description, you select your currency, which is euro, 21% VAT. Any discount if you do any for your trial customers for the first 30 days. And these are the basically these are listed here, all the services that you can provide with Vim Availability Console and Vim Cloud Connect. These are managed services, so these are just flat fee, no matter what. 395 is just a flat fee for the service. In addition to 395 per month, me as a service provider, I will take 45 euro, because my currency is euro, per month for a managed virtual machine, 20 for workstation, 45 for server agent, and 25 for cloud agent. Cloud agent, it means that I have a workstation agent and a server agent that are backing up not only locally but to the cloud. Otherwise, for example, backing up directly to the Cloud Connect of mine. So these are all just my prices for the services that I deliver. These are the backups, the price for backups stored in the cloud repository. So this is how much virtual machine, server, and workstation would cost. In addition to this, you can charge not only for the virtual machine or one server or one agent. You also can charge for the amount of data for the amount of space that is consumed by the backup files on this cloud repository. You can take 10% or I don't know, first 10, 20, 100 gigs for free. And also what would be your egress traffic per gigabyte if you because the end users, they are able to download their own backup files from the cloud repository, even though the cloud repository is yours. So you can also charge for the data transfer out. The next step is absolutely the same idea, but for the replicated virtual machines. For those who are not very familiar with Vim, I will remind that replication is built-in functionality for Vim backup and replication for virtual infrastructures, for Hyper-V and VMware. And replication is a complete copy of the virtual machine, which is hosted on the different hardware, on a different E6i host, different Hyper-V host. And this is a complete standby copy of the virtual machine. So the idea of this, having this replica, is to have as little downtime as possible when there is a disaster scenario, something is happening, so that because virtual machines are standby, you just power it on and continue working, and that would be your replica. So that's this subscription plan for the external users. We have 3 of them, and after you start working with the companies, with the external companies, you will be able to assign one of those subscription plans to the companies that you serve, that you onboard. I will finish this. So this is that's all I have for the subscription plan. What else? What else to show here in the settings? I guess that not much for right now. So I will exit this configuration and I will get back to my companies. So you can see here that first of all, I have already, these are all my companies that I'm working with. I can take a look, for example, I can filter it out and I can just take the information about the one certain company. One certain company may have different locations here. Well, I guess I don't have any locations, but just so you know, you have locations. Active alarms, if anything, so everything is looking quite green here. How the alarms look like, so that I will just show you around. For example, repository free space. This is what you get as an alarm from the external user. So these are Veeam backup and replication servers located at the customers that you manage and monitor. So this one is easy one. It's low on free space. Backup repository free space. Drop below the configured threshold. Increase the space or decrease the retention policy. So these are the alarms that are already predefined, but you can modify some of the alarms. You can do this in the alarm section in configuration. Okay. To start also, I need to create a company. So since I'm on Demo Lab company, I can select all companies. So these are all my companies. I can edit this, remove, enable, disable, manage this in a way, locations or portal users. I can set a different billing or send a welcome email. So let's take a look at how I create a company. So how do I start with the company onboarding? How will I start with my services delivered to this company? So again, I either create new or just edit. Normally, you fill in all the information about the company name, the first name of your contact person, this company email address, and everything. User information, just the same way. For those of you who are familiar with Cloud Connect, that interface would already look familiar. In case you do provide Cloud Connect services as a repository or disaster recovery, then you can select them here, backup resources or replica resources. If you're doing managed services only, this information will be sufficient. So you will need to give it a name, to your external user so that they can log into Veeam Availability Console, or at least be able to connect to you, to the service provider. So you give it a username and password. You can disable account if this is a trial account, or if this account is valid for some time or the contract finishes in a year. Here you can safely add your backup resources if you would like to allocate any of the backup repositories to your external company, to your tenant. You can add it here. You specify a friendly name, cloud repository. You select from which part you would like to take the piece of the repository. So I only have one repository configured here. It is called configuration backups. I will give to my tenant BAT, to my company, which is called BAT. I will give them 100 gigabytes of free space so that they can store these backups on these 100 gigs. This one is quite interesting things. I have to mention this, protect deleted backup files. This is called a recycle bin. This was done on purpose as a protection from ransomware. So if you imagine the situation when the end user is attacked, the external company is attacked by the attacker, and they try to delete all the backups and encrypt all the production data, even though it seems that the backups are deleted, you can select that, okay, I want to keep those deleted backups for my tenants for still for 1 day more, so that in the morning you can just call a tenant and ask, hey, did you delete your backups, or was it an attacker or something? And in case it was indeed the not wanted deletion, you still can handle to the tenant their own data back, because you have it protected for at least 1 day. So it means that all the backups, they will disappear from the user interface. They will not be available for the tenant, but physically they will be present. So you can enable this. This is called insider protection. So you can enable this insider protection, otherwise recycle bin, if you want to be on the safe side and just make sure that the data of your end users will be accessible even though something wrong is happening on their side. The same for the replication resources. So you can see that the replication resources consisting of CPU, memory, storage, and network. So I just add this certain amount of CPU, memory, certain amount of storage, and amount of networks that the virtual machines are connected to. Okay, the next step is what we just did. We just created a subscription plan. So I have this default subscription plan, and this company BAT will be subscribed to the default subscription plan. So they will pay according to this plan. Here is the control over your environment, not to overload it. You can limit the concurrent tasks to 1, 2, 3. Otherwise, you can limit incoming traffic, or you can limit both of them. 1 task and not more than 10 megabytes per second. Okay, I'm going to finish this. I have created the company. And basically at this point, I am ready to start the managed service with this company. I will jump back to my presentation, and we will start with the agent management services. So how Vim Availability Console allows you to manage remote agents and discover the environment, deploy backup agents, the Vim backup agents for Windows. So these are 3, to be precise, 3 types of discovery. You can scan the network IP range, and you just get this information from the tenant, and he tells you exactly either what IP range he wants to protect with these agents for Windows. If you have access to Microsoft Active Directory, you can use this one for discovery and just provide the credentials that are able to browse through Active Directory. Otherwise, you can just create a CSV file with the comma-separated IP addresses or DNS names of the machines and import this one. Okay, how does this work? I will probably finish with the slides so that we can see this. This part is already familiar. We have Vim Availability Console, Cloud Connect server, gateway that receives the connections, and we already created the company, client number 1. So the first thing that we do is to be able to connect between Vim Availability Console and our side, service provider side, with the company side, we deploy what is called master agent. Master agent is a small component from Vim that is not doing anything. It is just responsible. It's like our spy, our internal Vim component that sits in the customer's infrastructure and is responsible for the discovery. Let's have a look at the demo, how it works. All right, so I have this is my discovery. I can create a rule. I can create a new, otherwise I already have the rule name. I will edit this and we will see how it functions. Okay, so this is the rule name, the discovery for demo lab. Then I assign this to this company. Otherwise, you can assign it to another company. Just search by company name. Here is what we just said: network-based discovery, Microsoft Active Directory discovery, or computers from CSV file. You can base it on one of those discovery rules. There are, however, some other types of deployment. For example, you can deploy all the agents manually. You can just go physically to the customer, install everything manually, and just connect those agents back to the Availability Console for management. So it's not something that you are stick to this. If you want to do it with a group policy, if you want to do this with some other automation scripts, with I don't know, Puppet, that's also possible. The main idea is that we are just able to connect those two. We are able to connect Vim Availability Console and our Vim agent, no matter how they were deployed. In this case, we only care about the license that this agent will receive. Okay, let's have a look at Active Directory discovery. We select the organizational units, and there is also a checkbox: ignore offline computers that are more than 30 days offline. You can set exclusion mask. For example, you know already that you don't want to protect the machines with certain names. You can do this here. Of course, you will need an access account because this will be the discovery, and actually you will need some rights to run the software and perform the discovery. Of course, you need some permissions like domain admin level on the customer's infrastructure. Okay, discovery filters. You can filter this by operating system type, by application, by platform. You can see if you want to discover only server operating system or vice versa, only workstations. The same here by the SQL, by Exchange Server, Oracle, SharePoint, other applications. So I can filter this out here. Email notifications and backup agent deployment. So once you discovered all of those, you have several options. Okay, I want to discover a computer without installing backup agent. So that means if you just do this, you will only see the discovered computers here, and nothing will be installed on this discovered computer. If you select discovery mode computer, install backup agent, and assign the selected backup policy, of course, the backup agent will be deployed, but you can select, okay, I want no policy. Just install all the agents, but no policy. Otherwise, you can install and also assign the policy. There is also a control, which is called enable read-only UI access for backup agent. In this case, the backup agent that is deployed on the side of the demo lab incorporation, basically the end user will be able to see the software, will be able to click on the software. Plus, if we're talking, for example, about workstation, he will be able to click through the software. He will be able to see what are the backup status, but it will be read-only. So it's not possible absolutely to change anything. If you disable read-only UI access, it means that end user can change some policies, basically how often it backs up, what exactly it backs up, where it backs up. So all the normal settings. Here again, we have a predefined backup policy to apply: workstation, server. This is some custom no policy. You can create new right now. So it's ad hoc wizard, but normally you also can create a lot of policies in configuration backup policies. You can just predefine a lot of policies and then select them from drop-down menu here. Okay, so this is my rule. This rule is based on Active Directory. Then I discovered my computers. And what I can do is I can select them all and, for example, select, okay, I want to install backup agent on these machines. Otherwise, I can select just some of them and install backup agents. You can see that some of my machines are already backing up. The status is online, the agent deployment is successful, and you can see some information about this. Okay, so these are all computers that I discovered in my environment. I can also go to backup agents, and that would be already only list for me the backup agents that I have protected. I will see the backup policy when it was activated, the last heartbeat, the backup agent, and for example, I can see that this agent is out of date. So this is the previous version. Now what can I do is that I can just update this agent. Okay, so this is offline, or for some reason something happening, but the idea is still the same. You can select the agent and you can do whatever with this agent. You can patch it, you can update this, you can delete the agent, you can download logs, you can collect some data, just renew the new collection interval. And also you can switch this particular agent to unmanaged mode. That means that this agent will not be managed by Vim Availability Console and also will not have any license assigned to this. That means that once you switch the agent to unmanaged mode, it will fail over to free edition and it will not communicate with Vim Availability Console anymore. Okay, so these are the backup agents, and more or less that's it about the backup agent. Let's switch back, see what other scenarios we have. Just wanted to tell about just a couple words about these master agents. So master agent and Vim backup agent are physically two different components. Master agent is just the it's a small component that is responsible for this communication. So basically, master agent is the one that sits inside the client infrastructure and is responsible for discovery of other computers. Through this master agent, we will also push some updates. So for example, if you need to download and update your Vim backup agent, it will not be done through Vim Availability Console. It will be done through master agent. We will just issue the command to the master agent in the customer's environment. Master agent will connect to Vim and download the new update and then push it locally to the client environment. So this is what we use master agent for. No matter what, master agent and Vim backup agent for Windows, they always come together. So if it is managed by Vim Availability Console, it means that on each and every computer that is protected with Vim backup agent for Windows, you will also have master agent. But again, master agent is not something that you're going to open, you're going to see every time, or it has the user interface. It's just a component which preserves this ongoing communication between the service provider and the end user. All right, that's all about the discovery rules that we have just seen live. Protected virtual machines, the overview. These are the sizing guidelines for Vim Availability Console based on what we tested last time. One Vim Availability Console is able to protect 10,000 agents, 600 backup servers, and it may have 500 portal users at the same time. So these are the sizing limitations, but of course we're working on sizing, on scaling out, and I believe that in future this will be increased, but for now this also seems not bad. Okay, about the billing and invoice integration, I'm also going to switch back to Vim Availability Console and show you just exactly this screen about the invoices and how you can create the reports and what these reports show. This is the I will probably not go to invoicing, but this is how the invoice looks like. You can see that everything that we already filled in subscription plan, virtual machine servers, workstation managed, cloud repository usage, different locations, cloud backups. You can see the virtual machines that are managed. And you also can get some details about this invoicing, something like what were exact backup dates, how much data was transferred, how much space is consumed, and things like this. So it can be more detailed, but this is the example of invoice generated automatically by Vim Availability Console. Let me switch back to the Vim Availability Console for a second, because we have something uncovered here. So despite, except for backup agents, we got a backup servers, and these are really, really easy to protect. If this is opened, I will try to show you how this looks from the end user perspective. This is Vim Backup and Replication Server from the end user perspective, and you probably know that the end user in any edition by default has this checkbox, which is called service provider. And I would like to add a service provider either for management or just to drop cloud backups to my Cloud Connect provider. So when I add a service provider, I will go inside this one. When I add a service provider, this is the information that I get from the service provider, and these are my tenant credentials. But I also have the very specific checkbox here, allow this Vim backup and replication installation to be managed by service provider. And this checkbox is exactly what allows me to see my Vim backup servers in here. I can see the backup servers that I'm managing, and well, of course, I can see some more information about backup server version. I can see some more information about agent status or something. So I got these backup servers, and what I can do with this backup server, I can of course go to see backup jobs originating from this backup server. These are agents, these are backup servers. I can see the job name, I can see the latest status, I can see why it failed, not enough licenses. So I may want to give it another license. Job has been disabled. What else? If I don't really understand what is happening, I can download the logs, or even better, I can download the remote Vim Backup and Replication Console, which will bring me directly to Vim Backup and Replication Server at my tenant. I will just download this one, and this will ask me to which tenant you would like to connect. So I select these whatever demo lab company, demo lab incorporation, and this will bring me directly into this server. So basically I will see all the fully blown UI. I can see why my jobs were failing. I can check the latest status. In here, I can also take a look at the statistics. So basically this will be a fully blown admin access to Vim Backup and Replication Server. This is for full management. So this will open up, and you will see that you will be able to connect to the tenant.
Irina, can I interrupt you for a second?
Yeah, sure. I think that, yeah, we're running out of time.
We're running out of time, and I think just for visibility for the others, are you able to do short and sweet in 5 more minutes, perhaps? We have 2 questions as well from Jørgen and from Fredrik.
Yes, I can do the questions, and I guess that more or less I finished with the overall overview. So if there are some specific questions that you want to take a look at, like invoices, reporting, something like this, we can stay 5 minutes more. But let's do the questions first.
Yeah. So we have a question from Jørgen about are there any plans to release a Vim agent for Mac OS? And is Office 365 backup something that will be multi-tenant manageable with self-service inside Vim, inside VAC in the future?
For the first one, I have never heard about Vim agent for macOS. It doesn't mean that this will never happen, but I haven't heard about this.
No.
So yeah, and the second one about Office 365. Yeah, we definitely have something on the roadmap. So we're trying to bring some additional functionality into console, something like restore from agents, restore perhaps from Vim Backup and Replication servers. But we're not really sure what to do about Office 365. So there will be some type of self-service restore, but I think that we're deciding whether it will be Vim Availability Console integrated or it will be a separate portal or something like this. There are definitely plans. But yeah, there is no specifics. There are no specifics that I can share. There are no details. I don't know for sure.
No, it's an update coming in March or something like that. Is that correct?
The Office 365 visibility into Vim Availability Console.
Yeah.
This one? No, it's not. It's not definitely something that is coming in March. No.
Okay. No. It's a very comprehensive tool. It's lots of things to see and to do. Do you have any suggestions on what a partner should start with?
Sorry, Ivan, I was browsing through the questions and sorry, just disconnected. Can you please repeat?
Do the questions. Sorry.
Yeah. Okay. Let me just read them aloud. Can Cloud Connect repository be local? We answered. Client-side perspective look to take a peek. Yes, we might do this in a second. I will try to disconnect and connect again. Okay. Meanwhile, I do this. Vim backup for Office 3 going integrated into back in foreseeable future. I don't know. Maybe, maybe not. So for the tenant side, quick look. Tenant.
While you log in, I can say that Veeam is very feature driven. So if you're on the Veeam forums, you're able to request features. And what Veeam usually does is, if a feature is requested enough times, that's usually what they work on. Is that correct, Irina?
Yeah, the request is basically based on popularity. The most popular, the most votes it gets, it will be more closer considered by the product management. So if you have a chance, if you are not still on Veeam community forums, just register there, and there is a whole product management team that is browsing through the forums and reacting and replying to the questions, and also taking a look at what's happening. So if you really want to influence, I mean, this is the place to do this. It definitely works, as we see over time. This definitely works. So community forums is a place to be. Take a look. All right, so this is the tenant side. You can just see the tenants that the information that is specific to this particular tenant. You can see the workstations, servers, and machines protected. You can split them to virtual machine backup, see what are the results, how much replicas backups you have, if the backup copies are local or like in the cloud. I have 1, 12, and 16 machines. Out of those, protected has no copies. You can see the consumption of cloud quota in terms of how much space is used on the cloud repository, data transfer out, and virtual machines stored in cloud repository. Cloud replication the same. Right, you will see active alarms just for your own company, protected computers also for your own company only, or virtual machines for the monitored Veeam backup replication server. You can see the backup jobs that are originating either from backup agent, and of course you have some control over it. Start, stop, enable, disable, change the backup policy, update the configuration, select the mode, read only, not read only, and the same for the backup server. So more or less you have this limited control over the Veeam backup replication server or agents. We saw the failover plans that are well, if you are using, for example, Cloud Connect replication, your Veeam server on the customer side is completely dead. This is how you normally initiate failover to the service provider, because you don't have any, well, because the end user doesn't have anything. The end user logs into the availability console and just selects the failover plan and select start. Right, the end user can create his own rules for discovery and create his own rule, run this rule, and add more computers to the production group, let's say, to install backup agent or see the already existing backup agents, see the backup servers. So here in the discovered computers, of course, you can create rule, you can deploy, you can change the view. And here is the invoice. So this will be also, this is what we've seen already, quota usage invoice. We've seen it on the PowerPoint. Sorry. I don't know why it doesn't pop out. Quota usage for September, maybe. To be honest, I don't know why. Okay, in any case, I will not troubleshoot it right now. So these are quota usage or quota usage details that are available for the end user to log in and check whether it's paid or unpaid. And also there is a possibility to create a report, for example, something like this. Let's see. The report can be based either on protected computers or protected virtual machines, physical or virtual. Well, you created a name, you select the locations, for which locations, select recovery point objective. So all machines that at least have 1 day or 2 days or 30 days of RPO, job type, whether it's backup replication, copy, or something, and a schedule so that report can be automated and sent out. More or less, the report just lists the number of VMs, number of agents with a certain restore points, and how often they were how often they were created. All right, so this is the tenant side of things. And we also talked about the admin part, how to protect it. In any case, you got some details, I believe, from me, from Joachim, and from Ivan. So feel free to get back to us with any questions or trial of the Vulnerability Console, or if any issues.
Yeah.
We'll be glad to help.
Is it okay if we share your email address, Irina?
Yeah, it's totally fine. I guess that it's on my welcome screens here.
Yes. No, it's we'll send out the mail afterwards. To sum up, it's a very useful tool for all hosting providers or service providers. It gives you better visibility. It gives you the you're able to make a service catalog, and you can automate and configure much more, billing, for instance. It gives you a portal you can use towards the customer as well. That's an added value for the customer to be able to see their backups and to see their billing, etc., and see what you are doing with the backup. So it's a managed service. Do you have something to add?
Well, it's for this tool is for free, so please download it and test it.
Yeah,
that's I think that's the first way to go, and then you can ask questions when you have tried it out.
Yeah. So we'll send you all a mail afterwards. The recording will be there. So for if you have someone internally that needs to understand more of Veeam Availability Console, please forward. I'll also add the contact information for myself, for Kim, Torgrim internally, and for Joachim and Irina at Veeam. So with that, let's make a short meeting or a long meeting a bit shorter. And thank you to all that participated. Thank you to Irina and thank you to Joachim.
Thank you, team, and thank you to all who have found the time to get to our webinar. Thanks a lot.
Yeah, super. Okay.
Right. Have a great day. Bye-bye.
Yeah. Bye-bye.
Bye.